Hi everyone, I'm Fairy Meadow on behalf of FaceTanningTips.com. I am going to be doing a video tutorial for you today. Valentine's Day is coming up. I'm going to be using this stencil right here. This is stencil number 1032, and I'll be using a Fleur Prisma cake, as well as some Diamond FX white and possibly a little Diamond FX black and maybe some Paradise red. I like to kind of go with the flow of things, so we might add those in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out by getting a nice high density sponge wet. This one has some white paint on it that we'll be using. And I'm going to rub it onto my Fleur Prisma cake. So just take your sponge, rub it onto your Fleur Prisma cake. Load it up really good. And then I'm just going to go ahead and tap this onto my eyelids like this. So the dark red is on the outside and the white is on the inside. So it gives me really fast, pink, shimmery eye makeup. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Just make sure you've got your red on the outside and the white on the inside. And just as you're tapping, you're gently going up and down to get that color blended really nicely. It's called stippling. So I've got two big, bright red and pink and white eyes, like that. Then I'm going to connect it all by taking a 1/4 inch square brush, and you're going to use that same Fleur Prisma cake. Just go up and down over the same area, working the color all the way up to this middle part right here. You want your brush to be quite wet, but not drippy when applying a Prisma cake or any split cake with a square brush. So you get a nice crisp edge. So now I'm going to create a base for me to put my stencil on. And how I'm going to do that is by very carefully making a sort of a pattern around the ridge of my forehead. So I'm going to make a big, long oval. Bring it down like that. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to put a stencil on it. I'm going to reload my brush with some more paint. You're just going to be reloading a lot when you're using Prisma cakes. Come down and up. Make another nice long sweeping motion like that. And another one coming out of the other side. Like so. Then what you can do is you can flick your brush. So I'm cleaning my brush a little bit, getting it more wet. And we're going to put more of this on, but we're going to use the white on the outside instead of the red on the outside this time. So I'm going to flip my brush. I'm going to come around and trace, come down. I'm tracing the outer line of the red that I had before. And I'm going out like this. And sweeping right under my eye. Just like so. There's half of it. Do the same thing on the other side and under. There we go. Just like that. Then what you want to do is you want to just blend the white edge of this downward. So I'm just going to take a high density sponge with some white paint on it. And I'm going to blend that down. You can bring a little of the white upward into each individual bump if you'd like. Like that. Kind of gives it more dimension, more shape. It rounds the edges of it. Kind of nice. Then just go ahead and blend that white down into the corners of your eyes. Just tapping up and down, stippling my sponge to even out the white paint. There you go, just like so. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this stencil that we were talking about earlier, and we're just going to put it in a few different places to make a nice, very sweet, doily sort of pattern. So I'll be taking my high density sponge now, and I'm going to pick up my red Paradise paint. This is just Red by Paradise Marron. Load that sponge up. You don't want it to be too moist and drippy. Just test it on the back of your hand. If it's not dripping, that's good. You don't want it to be too wet, but you want like plenty of pink bit. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to plop it right here on the outside of the design where the white paint is. Hold it flat, and I'm going to stipple on this portion of the design. Give it a second to dry. Just hold it into place. The reason you're doing this is so it doesn't get too wet and the edges don't run. Just go over it one more time. peel away your stencil, and you've got a great little easy design coming out of the corner of the eye. So now you've got that little pattern on both sides. Then what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put one upside down right here on my forehead underneath the red. I'm going to try and center it the best I can. And then just go ahead and stipple that red paint on. Give it a second to dry. It's fun sitting here like this, letting hundreds of people watch. Stipple it on again, like so. And then you've got that cool little pattern coming down. Now I'm going to take a number 2 round brush, and I'm going to bring this pattern down a little more and make it a little more elaborate. How I'm going to do that is by making some long thin teardrops coming out of the center and going downward. Just like so. Four of them coming down there. Four of them coming down there. Now, I think this red is pretty much dried on this. We're going to flip it, and we're going to use the white on top. So you're going to get your high density sponge ready. Get it nice and wet. Not so wet that it's drippy. Load it up with lots of white paint. Pass it on the back of your hand to get any excess moisture out on your hands. That'll also push some of the paint that's in the back of the sponge forward. We're going to take this. We're going to flip it, so I'm not using the red side. I'm going to put it on top of the design, trying to make sure it's centered as best I can because I'm painting my own face, which is tricky. I think about there is where it's going to be centered. And then I'm going to stipple this on, even though I can't really see what I'm doing because I'm covering my own eyes. That's tricky, painting with your own eyes closed. So I'm putting it on, and I can kind of see that it's peeking through, so I'm just going to give it a second. I'm going to let that white paint dry. I'm actually loading my sponge up with a little more white paint right now. And I'm going to put that back on. I'm putting a second layer. And because I'm putting white on top of red, I am even going to do a third layer. So I'm just going to let this dry again. And that last layer of white. I'm going to peel away. So then you get that neat print on top too. And what you can do is you can also make some more prints. There's also this cool little pattern right here. So you can put that over on this side if you would like. By just pushing down. Make sure you get all those little holes filled up. You can go over it with another layer, and you're just going to do the same thing again on the other side. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. Okay, so as you can see, I've got a neat doily pattern going on all around my face. This is a really fun way to use your stencils. Now I'm going to do some brush strokes. So you're going to take your white, your Diamond FX white or whatever white you use, and you're going to bring it all together by adding hints of white into the red and vice versa. So I'm going to go ahead and make some long thin teardrops kind of under the eye area right here. Like that. I'm just kind of trying to tie in the top and the bottom. We're going for some symmetry, so whatever we do on one side, we're going to try and do on the other. There's that. Then we're going to bring some white into the corners where we've got all that red going on by just making some curving teardrops. Just a couple. We don't want to really cover up that pattern. As you can see, it just adds a little something to it. just like so. Do the same thing on the other side, bringing it all together. Then I'm going to bring down into here some polka dots. I'm going to do a big dot on each side. Then I'm going to bring in some smaller ones to make an almost upside down crescent shape. There we go. FacePaintingTips.com actually has this wonderful product called Details now that makes perfect little round circles, so that could be really fun. You might want to think about trying that. If I had some right now, I would be using them. Making some dots around here and there. Make a dot right here. And some dots on the side. And now I'm just going to trace the outside of a couple of the white spots with a little red to balance everything out and make it look really special. Just adding little red touches here and there. I'm going to do one more. And a little down here. Right there. So just a couple little swirls at the bottom because I love swirls. Alright, well, this is it. My face painting tutorial using a wonderful and very messy stencil. I hope you like it. It's very ornate and all of the dots and things were really quick to add. I think you all know how to do dots now, and you don't have to do all the tracing and extra things. You can just use the stencil if you like. I like to use them as a background tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and on behalf of myself, Barry Meadow, and FacePaintingTips.com, have a wonderful day and a happy Valentine's Day.